Hi, Adam Bazalgette here, founder of SW Golf Academy. Today we're going to look at ways to increase your club head speed. Yes, by as much as 10 miles an hour. I believe you can do that. Going to show you four categories, four areas where people commonly lose speed. In three of them, I'm going to show you a pro versus an amateur in slow motion, give you some checkpoints, not only to get a mental picture of it, but also so when you video yourself, you'll have some checkpoints to go with. At the end of the video, going to look at two things. If you do these two things, most people do, you will probably not make improvements. So these are warnings. I think they'll be helpful to you. Briefly, if you're new to this channel, would love it if you'd subscribe. We've got a lot of content planned to keep it coming. Just hit the subscription button, but also the little bell there. You'll be notified every time a new video is coming your way. At the App Store, SW Golf Academy, it's a free app, got all sorts of great training tools, warm-up tools, tempo trainers, etc. I think you'd love it. Hope you'll pick that up. It's free to you. Okay, first category, failure to store enough energy in the backswing with the body and failure to create enough arc. Let's have a look at Davis Love next to this amateur. Now, he certainly has a long backswing. He's a little bit younger there, but I would say you would want to get your arms, unless you're especially stiff, at least to the 45-degree line. This chap's arms are too close to the 90-degree line. Checkpoints for you. We want to do that, but maintain some space here. If that club starts to get stuck behind your hat, that's a cheating way to get width, to get length, and it'll cost you. Second thing is you've got to let your body move freely. Watch Davis's right shoulder, right pocket. Watch how they work back behind him and stretch a bit this way going back. We'll deal with that in just a minute. The final thing, look at the resistance in this guy's legs. Too much for his physique. Watch Davis Love. Let me take him right back to address. Look at his knees and belt buckle. Look at the difference between address and top of the backswing. There must be some release of the lower body. Well, of all the four flaws we're going to talk about, this is the biggest one that besets me in my swing. So let's try one here. I've got a 6-iron. See if I can get those arms up into this sort of a slot. Yeah, that felt fairly good. For me, that was a reasonably long backswing. Okay, a couple of thoughts here. Sometimes, sure, people don't turn enough. That can be the case, but more often than not, what I find working with people is this trail side, right side for the right-handed golfer, as this left shoulder turns behind the ball, doesn't stretch and get long enough. Put your hands together, reach that back arm back behind you there. You'll start to feel some lengthening of this rib cage. Remember, the final bit of the backswing, once your arms have got to horizontal, has to be behind you towards the target. That's the shape of the circle. That's why this drill, moving your hand back behind you like that, will give you the proper feel. And I'm confident for you that if you do that and you get this trail side stretched, you'll feel some pull in that right hip and a little drag of the lead knee, enough to help you lengthen out the backswing. Okay, let's check out fault number 2. Number 2, wrist mobility. That is a huge source of speed. So here's your checkpoints. When your arm is horizontal, that's Aaron Badley hitting some sort of hybrid there, your club should be about vertical. If we look at this golfer here, the actual angle between the forearm and the club is significantly less than that. Number 2 checkpoint, whatever your angle is on the way back, and we'll assume it's reasonably good, it should always be narrower and more acute to some degree or another on the way down. Look at this fella's club. It's right by the edge of that piece of wood when his hands are at the tabletop. It's wider coming down. Had a little bit of pop in that one. That was good. That was a 6-iron. Okay. First thing, wrist cock. If you have a reasonable grip, not going to get into a lot of detail here, but this heel pad of the lead hand needs to be on top of the handle. You can do what you need to do, which is push down on the handle. That's what makes it hinge up. Now, I've yet to see the person that I can recall that with a decent grip couldn't just make a little guillotine chop like that. Just do that, then pivot to the side, and you'll get the feeling of how there's some downward push and some angle there. Hey, this trail arm will fold just a little bit and set the club on a slight angle. That's fine, but get that feeling. An old image from the Leadbetter days, if the shaft is full of water and you trimmed the cap off, you would want to feel like you could push down and pour the water out of the shaft like that. Now we're going to look at this downswing here in just a moment before we move on to category 3. See this little tiny thing here? It's called a swing caddy. Gives you absolute accurate information on club head speed, apex of ball, carry distance, all the things that would be relevant to how far you can hit the ball, so that when you're working on stuff you actually get feedback. Now here at the Golf Learning Center I have about an $20,000 flight scope launch monitor. It's fantastic, measures all sorts of things. You may not have an extra 20,000 and space in your bag for something this big. This little guy here, for less than the price of a new driver, I'm telling you, you will get so much. Picture a couple of years of using this versus yet another new club. I'm not against new clubs. You will get some use out of that because you get concrete feedback as you go. So I would encourage you to do that. They have given us a discount link below. I'm not trying to sell you here. These things are great. They've offered us a little discount for our viewers. I'm not a part of that company. Okay, number 2, on the downswing, we're not going to camp on this, but if you can be passive with your wrists, get a good sharp bump of your weight, and just be passive, your club will bounce and load. Just practice it on small pumps and exaggerate it a bit. Pump, and hit a little shot like that, start to get the feel. It'll work wonders. Let's look at category number 3. So our third category, what angle you do have, and certainly Tiger Woods has more angle than this amateur golfer here, but he's got the failure to crack the whip to release the angle. So let's go through impact. You see the handle, the glove, the left arm just dragging through the shot. Checkpoints for you. When you're about belt buckle high or belt high, let's say, on the forward swing, let's get Tiger to that point, maybe there. You would certainly want to see 2 things: the glove underneath the lead forearm, number 1, and to one degree or another, the shaft above the right forearm, number 2. That's a sign you're snapping energy and getting it out to the club. Okay, 2 drills I think can really help with this feel. This besets so many people. Again, we're assuming the grip. Number 1, this is one of my favorites. Short iron, I've got an 8 iron. I'm going to make a fairly short swing about there to there, but I'm going to hit it with some energy and some punch. And here's what we're going to feel. This lead tricep, my left tricep, as I get near impact, I'm going to feel that it literally just rotates and digs into my ribs and just gets stuck against the rib cage. And against that resistance, you can really get the club popping. Let's try one here. I could really feel that thing dig in and the club kick there. That is a great drill, I am telling you. Now we'll get to our 2 ways to guarantee you don't make improvements. I want you to not do these 2 things here in just a minute. Now, drill number 2 though for this, get a longer club. This is great when you're out on the golf course, a hybrid, a driver. Make some practice swings and long swings, full swings. The key is, can you feel a lot of swish in the club? Can you hear it? In other words, that speed. But can you do it feeling it's exponential to the body speed? Listen to this. Do you hear that speed? Watch me. Not moving particularly quickly. I'm transferring energy to the club. Okay, let's check out number 4. 4th one, solid contact. If you have decent club head speed but shoddy contact, you won't get great distance and ball speed. Foot spray, available anywhere. Absolute concrete feedback. Use it. Get to know where your tendencies are in terms of that. That alone will help you sort out your problems there. Okay, 2 reasons why people typically don't improve. Let me give them to you. Number 1, they don't get concrete feedback. There's an old saying, never settle for subjective feedback when concrete is available. In other words, just feel, I like the way I hit it the last 10 minutes. My friend said something, maybe that's good. Forget that stuff. If you get the swing caddy, for instance, you've got your telephone, that'll give you video-wise concrete feedback. Swing caddy, is what I'm doing making a difference? Chalk, tell you if you're hitting it solidly. This is concrete feedback. Pros use concrete feedback all the time with launch monitors, coaches and video, force plates, these sort of things. So that's number 1, get concrete. Number 2, stick with stuff. Let me give you a very quick anecdote. Well-known teacher, Dr. Jim Sutty's a friend of mine down here. He's teaching Kevin Streelman at one point, great tour player. I had some force plates here at the Learning Center. He brought Kevin over to try them out. They were working on something. Kevin hung out for the afternoon. His wife was here. He's a terrifically nice guy. We had a really good time. So I sort of took an interest in him a little bit after that. Just kind of keeping an eye on his career. This is several years ago. And then I ran across the guy that had done some club fitting for him, and he said that Kevin had one of the best swing speeds, or certainly top 10, let's say, on the tour, but wasn't really that great in driving distance, hitting down on it too much. So he played with a 10.5 degree driver. They built him a 6.5 and an 8.5. For about 3 months he practiced with the 8.5, played with the the 10.5, and all he tried to do with instinct was try to hit it as high as he could. Once he got reasonable with that, continuing to play, he went to the 6.5 for a few months. Eventually he could get that reasonably in the air, and over the course of 5-6 months, I think it was, he got his angle of attack from maybe 2 or 3 down to level 1 up. This is a talented guy, so he stuck with something, kept getting his feedback, in his case trajectory, off different loft clubs. You will make a big improvement in your game if you use concrete feedback and you stick with the things you need to. Hope this helps you.